Hey guys, thanks for listening to The Cynical Nerd. Please keep in mind that we do not avoid spoilers for any of our topics, whether they are current or past media. Listen at your own risk.
Oh, damn it.
That's true. I have a confession to make. I did not mean to do a Foo Fighters impression, but I felt I was coming. Oh, first off, check out the shirt.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, it was Samantha's idea. She bought it.
Love it.
We have a lot of business to talk about.
Okay.
Our week in review section looks huge, but there's like almost nothing there. It's like movie titles and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
which is not a bad thing.
Just like this podcast, it's very shallow.
Yeah.
Without any deeper meaning. So it finally happened. And by it, I mean my son came home and
yes,
unannounced uttered a curse word.
Oh my God, which one?
Yeah, it was damn it.
Okay, all right, that's a good starter point, right?
So I worked from home today. Sam brought him home. I ran out to grab some food. She calls me. Hey, why don't you snag that little dude a Happy Meal? He's been trying desperately to get the blue Sonic toy.
Right.
And they have not had it. So McDonald's, if you're listening, thanks for being our sponsor. Send me a blue Sonic, please, for my son. He's really excited about it. It's the only one he doesn't have. He has the yellow Sonic, which I don't even think is in the fucking movie, but not the blue one. He's got Tails, Knuckles, off track. Anyway, I walk in with the Happy Meal. And of course, instead of going, Daddy, he goes, Happy Meal. And I went, okay. And cool. He took it. And yeah, cool. And he was trying to open it. And he goes, ugh, damn it. And I whipped around. I was like, what did you just say? Oh, actually, I whipped around. He said it a second time.
Oh, shit.
And then I looked at Samantha and I looked back at him and I said, what did you just say? And he said, because I cannot get the Happy Meal open. I say, damn it. And I said, whoa. So first off, this is a glass half full, glass half empty situation.
Right, of course.
My first reaction to Samantha was like, we did it. It wasn't our fault. He didn't hear this from us.
Yeah.
So we successfully made it. His first curse word was not the fault of either Samantha or myself. So anyway, I'm grilling him. I'm like, hey, buddy, you're not in trouble. But you can't say that word. And, where did you hear it from? He went to school today. So naturally, I'm like, did one of the kids in school say it? And he said, yeah. And he named him. He gave me my son's
He's
a fucking
snitch.
rat.
Holy shit. You should be like, all right, now I'm going to go beat the shit out of that little kid because he made you say a bad word. And his dad. I'm going to kick all their asses so that you never say a bad word ever again.
And he gave you up for a chicken nugget, motherfucker.
Yeah, you don't mean shit to my son. You're nothing.
You're less than $1. Anyway, that just happened like an hour ago, and I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah. I'm going to have trouble with that. Like, I'm not kidding. Like, I know people say this a lot. It's like a common thing. Like, oh, I don't know how I'm going to discipline my kid when they say funny, like, profane shit. I'm legitimately worried about that. Like, I know that you're supposed to be like, hey, like, even when it's funny, like, hey, you can't say that and blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm going to have problems with that. I think it's hilarious. When kids say a word, they have no idea what it means. Even when it's not a bad word, it's hilarious.
Yeah.
When it's a curse word, it's just so much better.
So what I said to him was 100% true because to be honest, if it's between me and you, why would I care that he says that?
Yeah.
Like, what's the inherent value in stopping my son from using a word that he feels expresses how he feels? Like, it's really just a social construct thing. It's like kids shouldn't curse, So I was straight up with him. I said, look, buddy, you can't say that word. If your teacher or...
It looks like Veronica was just like falling, but she was just chasing the dog. No
it looked like she was dancing, actually. Like, a skedat, scat, a skedat. But yeah, so I was like, look, buddy, if your teacher hears you saying that, you're going to get in trouble. I was being real with them. I said, you can't You can't use that word. I said, you got to find other ways to express yourself. I mean, if we're home and he's frustrated because he can't open a Happy Meal container and he lets a damn it slip.
Yeah.
Who am I to judge?
Maybe he's just naming his favorite Blink-182 single. You don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, Doodrinch? Oh,
what
you
if he
too,
just
huh?
popped in his head as he was over and he was like, oh, yeah, damn it. Easy.
Yeah. That's nice. I choose Party Song. Anyway, okay, so we're at episode 65 of The Cynical Nerd. We have
eligible for Medicare.
Oh,
AARP,
sign us up.
here we come.
Sign us up because we're slowly dying and we're closer to death than ever before. Horribly true.
Just to start,
I just feel unhealthy lately.
In a real, just great foot, just real positive, optimistic.
Yeah,
foot.
I just feel unhealthy lately. You know. But we have some news. So first off, I decided that we were going to do this a couple episodes ago, and we never did. Start off doing the social stuff, and that's because it leads into our first big conversation, which is that the Cynical Nerd has a TikTok channel now.
We do. It's very
so
true.
We are officially those old dads who are trying to be hip.
Yeah, hey kids, come check it out. No, we're still there. We've still got it.
We're still shaking our hips to the songs on the radio. I don't know why the fuck I said it like that. You can find us on Twitter and TikTok, and soon to be Instagram. I know the person who holds the account, but I don't have the account set up yet. At The Cynical Nerd. We got all of them, boys. We got TikTok, we got Instagram, we got Twitter. The Twitter one was hard to get a hold of. If you remember, I did some sleuthing and goofing. I'm not afraid as anyone says.
Now we just need an OnlyFans, and we're just totally set. Got every
and we've already got
covered.
Content for it.
It's
so
true.
I mean,
plenty.
And along with having the TikTok created, it has not been a secret around these parts that Derek and I are terrible with social media. We tweet things very sporadically and inconsistently. And we made a joke last episode. This happened very quickly. We made a joke last episode that we needed a social media manager. And most importantly, we needed them to work for free. Well,
that's really the most critical part. You know what I mean? We're not getting paid, so we can't pay anyone else. It's just how it goes.
Right. I already pay hosting fees for the podcast. I can't fork out someone's small salary, no matter how high it is or low it is. And you know, so some sucker took the bait, and his name is Tyler. He's a good buddy. He's actually a friend of a friend. So old time Twitch friend of mine, Mr. Smedley. I knew him through Smedley, and he reached out to Derek and I and said he'd be willing to do it as a little side project, and that he listens every week, which thank you. I didn't know we still had avid listeners. I'm kidding. I assume we do. I see numbers, numbers move week to week. So yeah, the basic gist of this conversation is to say, one, thank you, Tyler. Welcome aboard.
Yes, thank you.
If we ever make any money off of it, some of that will go your way. The smallest percentage.
Yeah, like 5%. We're talking very, very low.
Thanks. Hopefully, hopefully this means a better experience, honestly, for listeners, because tweets will be more consistent.
Yeah.
Things like the day the episode is going to go up, because Derek and I have a shuffling, ever rotating schedule that are mostly similar, but sometimes don't agree with each other. So for example, tonight we're recording on Tuesday. We usually record Monday or Sunday. So more consistent tweets. When new episodes go up, they'll be more consistent across the different platforms.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. It should be better for the experience and the engagement. And hey, if you found us through our new TikTok video, which performed much better than I expected with 0 followers on the account, then hi, and we'll get to being somewhat funny right about now. So whatever, it's Tuesday. Hey, how's your day going?
It's going.
How's your night going?
It's been, you know what I mean? It's just it's a week. It's just a Tuesday.
Day.
That's all it is. That's
could
all
be
it's
any month, could be any year.
Doesn't matter. It's just Tuesday. That's all it is.
Just a Tues.
Just Tuesday.
Just Tues.
How's your Tuesday going?
Okay. Actually, I worked from home today. Rather busy.
That's excellent. I missed that. Oh my God.
Not bragging, but heading up an internal project for some technical jargon, and that went so swimmingly that I was done all of my prep work before the end of the day today. So we're ready to go. Yeah. Now we're really rolling. Anyway, welcome to episode 65 of the Cynical Nerd. I'm Chris, that's Derek.
Hi.
So we have some stuff to talk about. We're just going to dive in. Like I said, a lot of this stuff early on is like stupid sequel stuff.
Yeah.
But I put them in here because some of them are funny. Some of them are reminders of projects that shouldn't come out, but still are.
Yeah.
You know, just things like that. But before we do that, I would like to, we have one sad boy article in here. And it's like weirdly placed towards the end. And I'm just going to get it out of the way now so that we can be happy and full of life for the rest of the event.
As we usually are.
Yeah.
As we're known to be.
Influential, storied comic book artist, often associated with Batman, but not just him. Neil Adams has passed away at the age of 80. Neil Adams did some wonderful work on the Batman comics. You may not know his name unless you are a partaker in reading the comic books. If you just watch movies, you probably don't know who he is. He didn't create Batman, anything like that, but he had a long history of drawing the character and other characters with him. Him and writer Denny O'Neil are people who really did a lot of heavy work after the 60s show to make the character, you know, more fleshed out and darker. Honestly, they were kind of in that vein. He helped co-create Man-Bat, Ra's al Ghul. It is Ra's, not Raz. I mean, you know, sucks.
It does. I was under the impression, I figured you could clear this up for me. I think it's Frank Miller. Maybe it's not Frank Miller. There was another. No, it is Frank Miller.
He's a pretty influential Batman writer.
I thought that he was the one that kind of took him from goofy 60s campy nut job into the like gritty serious. Was this like an extension of?
It was actually before, if I'm getting my timelines correct. So he was most famous for some runs that he started doing after the 1960s campy show came on, where he was taking Batman back to a more gritty sense of realism. Not the depths to which Frank Miller took the character, but he helped redefine the character to, you know, it's any legendary comic book figure. Batman, Superman, you know, Flash, these characters who've existed for generations, they only exist because people have new takes on them that are interesting and worth reading and watching. And he's one of the people responsible for it. He's won an Eisner Award a couple times. He's in the Comic Book Hall of Fame. He's, you know, it just sucks. He was 80. Yeah. I mean, it's not like he got cut short. But, you know, he was one of the greats. He did a lot of work for those characters. Yeah. And,
you know what's interesting, speaking of Batman and sort of the transition from the Adam West Batman to, like, the one that we know today? Just randomly, one of my friends on Facebook posted a video of when they announced, like, Michael Keaton as Batman and everybody's sort of reaction to it. And Adam West shit on Michael Keaton. And apparently, he's
I
like,
didn't know this.
Yeah, they literally were like, well, who would you have cast in the role of Batman? He's like, well, I'd cast myself. I make him a fun, relatable guy. And like, apparently he's just kind of like, for a while was shitting on the fact that Batman like turned into something else. He thought he should be this fun, relatable, like goofy guy. And I don't know. It's just weird. It's just a reflection of how like things change. I mean, that was what Batman was in his time. And it's something totally different now.
What would you see if you saw your paycheck walking out the door?
Yeah, right.
No,
exactly.
Come back.
Yeah. Actually, I think we should do it my way. But no, I'm sorry to hear it. I don't read comic books. I mean, I've never, you know, hidden that. I've just recently started reading Berserk, which is, you know, manga. I know I'm not going to be into any other like Japanese comic. I know I'm not. But I'm actually really getting into like comic book artwork, and it makes me want to visit some of these, just certain issues. Like the one that you always talk about, is it called Batman Earth 1? You actually got
Earth 1.
Which I totally forgot that you got for me until I cleaned the other day and found like the first 2 issues or whatever it was. But anyway, I am, you know, I wasn't familiar with his work, but I'm sorry to hear he passed.
Yeah, it sucks. He was a good dude. Anyway, now that the sad boy news is over, we have a lot of weird sequels to talk about. So CinemaCon happened, and that's why we're getting all this news. But there's good news, great news, and some news. The good news is Ghostbusters Afterlife is officially getting a sequel. Derek and I both like that, despite it being so blatant of a play on our wallets and minds, our hearts. The Batman is getting an official sequel, which is not a surprise. The movie did very well, but I'm stoked that we're going to get more of that universe. I think, honestly, the aspect I'm most excited for is to see...
Sorry, my dog is like jumping into my lap right now. He never does this. It's so weird. So
I was just getting excited because it almost looked like you were jerking. Yeah. Like if I was just doing this for a whole segment while you were talking. And then what happened, Derek?
Keep going, don't stop.
Yeah. Oh, I'm almost there. The thing I'm most excited about the prospect of a Batman 2 is to see what Matt Reeves does with another villain in that universe. I want to see what take he would have on it. There were rumors, well, not rumors actually. He said in a couple interviews post-release that he had a couple cool ideas for like Mr. Freeze, which I think would be fantastic.
So glad you said his name first. I was going to call him Iceman, like a fucking asshole. Yeah. So glad you said that first. Whew.
Do you know what killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age. Anyway, the Batman 2 is getting a sequel. Venom is getting a third film. And we've talked about this before. I know you haven't seen them.
Yeah.
The first one
I want to watch
like,
them, honestly.
The first one feels out of time because it feels like one of those movies that should have come out around the time the first like Spider-Man film came out.
Yeah.
Like it's a standalone adventure. It's kind of cheesy. It's got like all the flaws of a comic book movie. But it's not bad per se.
Yeah.
Plus Tom Hardy carries a lot because it's just such an off the wall performance.
My understanding is that, and even the second one, if you manage your expectations going into them, they're pretty enjoyable movies. Like nothing that's going to be remembered for 15 years or anything. But, you know, if you just go in expecting just goofy fun, they're apparently pretty good. So
I had a harder time with Venom 2. I didn't like it very much. Well, here's the thing. What was the bad guy in the first movie? A symbiote. What's the bad guy in the second movie? Like I could just color palette change Carnage and like copy paste the scenes into the first movie and you wouldn't be able to fucking tell. Come on. Like I get it. Venom as an anti-hero doesn't have a super huge well of like bad guys, but just like figure something out. Like Jesus. Anyway, Venom's getting a third film and then El Muerto. Oh, I did a decent R roll there.
Pretty good.
El Muerto. I'm doing this as if I'm like Italian, but I'm not at all.
Yeah.
El Muerto is a comic book character in the Spider-Man universe. If you're thinking, that sounds like the name of a luchador, well, it's because he basically is. I know not much else about the character, and I did not even Wikipedia this guy because I don't care that much. It's a weird property to bring to the big screen. Honestly, with Morbius doing as bad as it is, I think Sony should rethink El Muerto.
Is it weird that I want to see Morbius more now that I know it's so dog shit? Like, I just have to see how bad it is. Like, well,
apparently it's doing so poorly that we're going to get to see it on streaming services like by the end of the month. So
excellent.
Yeah.
Jared Leto is such an ass. Fuck that guy. Oh, man. Anything to watch him take an L. Honestly, anything. Jesus Christ, what an asshole. Just the worst.
I think it was you, actually. You were like, it's such a crazy thing to like say that Jared Leto was like the worst Joker in history and in Morbius, but also in like Dallas Buyers Club and like these movies that are actually like good, like Requiem for a Dream. Like he's really gone
so good in Requiem.
He's really run the fucking gamut. I think fame just made him pretentious.
It burned his mind into bullshit. Yeah, exactly.
He's like high on himself now, and I think he got his
dick sucked by too many people is what it is. Like too many people lined up.
Men or women, doesn't matter.
Great. Yeah.
just too many mouths.
Yeah.
Have showed him their O face, and it's Speaking of which, I mean, we do behind the scenes stuff here all the time. How's the mic been sounding? Good.
It sounds Sounds
great. Okay. Yeah, it's Discord. Discord sucks.
Yeah, fuck
Discord. You suck.
Yeah, we're dropping you as a sponsor, Discord. That's
bye. Last, you weren't giving us anything anyway, but we're cutting you off. The thing is Discord's a free service that's not used for businesses professionally. So things like audio dropping every now and then, unless you're like paying for your own Discord server, they don't really give a shit.
Yeah.
It's like a, you know what I mean? Anyway, so moving on, more sequel stuff. Hey, Avatar 2 still happening. It's actually coming out in December. They titled it. It's called The Way of Water. And we're going to get to see a trailer. We're going to get to see a trailer of it together.
I know.
They're going to play it in front of Doctor Strange 2 this weekend. Just for us. They knew the special podcast screening.
Wait, is that this weekend?
Yeah.
Is it really?
Saturday.
It's this Saturday?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
8 p.m.
All
baby.
right, see you there. Glad
Get
we
your
had
lips-
this conversation.
Get your lips prepped. I'll get the bucket with the hole in it. So early reactions to Doctor Strange have come out, and it really seems to bank on how much you like Sam Raimi if you're gonna like the movie. I don't know if you've read any of them, but
No.
they basically they were like, yeah, it's a Sam Raimi Marvel movie. Like they said there's actually like the goriest stuff they've seen in a Marvel movie is in this. And then, you know, other than that, it's exactly what it looks like. It's a big placeholder of interconnected comic storylines to help introduce.
A huge spoiler, like a leaked image from it. Huge spoiler.
What'd you see? I
We can't talk about it on the podcast. We don't do leaks on the podcast. We made that rule, but I will text it to you afterwards.
I might have seen it already.
Yeah,
I've seen a couple. It looks like this wasn't an official clip, so I don't mind saying this. It looks like Captain Carter's going to be in it from What If, which is awesome. And like live action,
right?
Haley Atwell. There's a clip of him battling someone in the place where he talks to the Illuminati. Like it looks like it anyway. And someone slides past the front of the frame with that fucking Captain Carter shield with the British flag on it. So
the British
Captain Carter this time. I'm going to do enough of that shitty accent when we talk about Moon Knight. So anyway, Avatar 2 still happening. It's coming out in December. So like,
isn't it crazy that there were pre-release images for a teaser, for a trailer, for a movie? Like that's how far down the fucking rabbit hole we are with like entertainment, that there's like the movie, right? The movie. And then there's trailers for the movie, but then there's teaser trailers for the trailers for the movie. And now we have pre-release images for the teaser trailers for the trailer for the movie.
Well, you know, they got to make sure everyone knows it's coming out, right? Like, what else would they do?
Did you? I mean, I'm assuming you looked at those pictures. Does it look any different from the first one? Right?
You know, here's you know how Overwatch 2 is happening.
Yeah.
But like everyone's saying it's like Overwatch 1.1.
Yeah.
That's how Avatar 2 is for me.
Yeah.
This could have been deleted. All the images I've seen could have been deleted scenes from the first movie.
Yeah. It really doesn't look any different.
You know what else is batshit crazy about this? They're putting the first Avatar film back in theaters for a small run leading up to this, in case you forgot.
Right.
Like, hey, because.
But didn't you forget? Can you name one character from that movie?
No, not at all. I know Sigourney Weaver's in it.
Yeah, it's just like space Pocahontas, but I don't.
Yeah.
I don't remember the plot of that movie, you know, like there was a guy with a scar. I don't know.
I know that Avatar was the moment I realized I was not a furry.
Right.
So
You're officially fucking bank that shit. I'm done with it.
I don't want to put my dick in any of these things.
This is not what I'm all about.
It's got a tail. Nope. Get out of here. And if you have that weird disease where you still have the vestigial tail on the back, sorry. Can't hang out with you either.
Just can't do it.
All right. It's speaking of, I don't know, sequels that probably don't need to exist. Well, this one's actually a spinoff. Sorry, my segue sucks. Right. A Quiet Place. I put this article in here, prefacing it to Derek, and I said, is it bad that I'm putting an article in here just because I think it'll rile you up? And the answer was, well, whatever.
Riled up with Derek Ryle. That's our new segment.
Yeah. Next up, Riled with Derek Ryle. A Quiet Place. A Quiet Place Day One is the title of a new spin-off film in the Quiet Place universe. Why?
Yeah, how did either of those movies like do well enough to merit this? I'm just confused.
They did okay as far as I'm aware. I liked those movies.
Yeah. I don't know that I wouldn't. Like I haven't seen them. I actually want to. I know how the first one ends, but I'd still like to watch them. And
Emily Blunt is charming enough that she's kind of carries the parent. She's a honey. She carries the fucking parental weight in the second one. Because Krasinski's actually a pretty good actor. I was sad that they murked him off in the end of the first one. Spoilers. Yeah. Is Krasinski on the menu tonight? Nope. 86th him. All right, moving on. I don't know if you knew this. I didn't know this. They announced they were making 2 more Mission Impossible films, not 1. So they're officially Mission Impossible 7 and 8. And on top of that, they're now announcing that they're basically going to be one big film that's a 2-parter. Mission Impossible 7 will be known, I'm going to try to say this without laughing, Mission Impossible, Dead Reckoning, Part 1.
What's the second one called?
Mission Impossible, Dead Reckoning, Part 2.
Right. You would logically think that if you call it a name and then Part 1 for the first one, you'd have to call it the same thing with Part 2 for the second one, right? I mean, what else?
Totally.
You kind of boxed yourself into a corner there.
Yeah. I like. Oh, okay.
What is this remaining time? Are we getting kicked off of Zoom?
Maybe we might have to switch over to Discord.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
All right. Well, I didn't know that. Hey guys, we're keeping this in the podcast. Yeah. It's live. I'm just gonna prep Discord so we can seamlessly switch over into a video call.
That's a good point.
All right, I'm ready for that. When it happens, I have my finger over the fucking video call button. Anyway, so how about we'll finish talking about this and then we'll just swap over. So I don't know. What I like the Mission Impossible films for the most part. They're usually dumb fun. They don't really bother me that much. They're usually a good time. But that fucking title is...
It's really weak. It's exceptionally weak.
Yeah.
I haven't seen any of them since I think the second one. I loved the first 2 when those came out, like when I was a child, like when I was a small boy. And I haven't seen any since. I've always wanted to. I'm not dissuaded by the name, but it is really... It's pretty bad.
I don't know what you're talking about. It's fantastic.
Yeah. Excellent. All right. You want to do the switch?
Yeah, we'll do it right now.
All right.
All right. I'm talking about stuff to myself for 2 seconds so that I can...
Hello. Hi.
Talk about Buddy Derek. I said things to myself for a couple seconds, Oh,
that's good. Oh, damn, we don't have our microphone thing happening anymore. That's a shame.
That's okay. I'll live with it,
Oh, God, you sound like shit again. Let's do it. All right.
Fucking back to Discord. In all honesty, I'm going to see how much it is to upgrade Zoom because it was a much better experience. Mm-hmm. Okay, anyway. So we were talking about Mission Impossible, moving on. John Watts, this is actually kind of a surprising one. John Watts was directing the Fantastic Four movie that's coming up. John Watts, celebrated director who has done all the Spider-Man films. And I mean, whether you like them or hate them, those films have garnered a lot of money. And as far as we can tell, he's created no problems for Marvel. So him backing away from what's gonna be like a, what would you call it? Like a touchstone property when they get the Fantastic Four back. Kind of weird news. I don't know what the circumstances are surrounding it. It hasn't really been made clear. But I don't know. I
don't really know the role, and I'm not trying to I'm not turning my nose up at like Disney or MCU. I'm not doing that shtick, but I don't really know the role of a director for a mega studio like Disney. How much do they really, not really though. I mean, how much do they really, I feel like Disney has to have a chokehold on every aspect of that movie. And so I'm not saying he had no part of why the newest Spider-Man trilogy was so good, of course, but I'm just saying him staying or going, what will that do for the movie? Doesn't Disney have an airtight script that they just want some person to do anyway?
Probably.
And the other thing is maybe he walked away because Fantastic Four is such a fucking doomed franchise. It's just, even though, well, as films, I know that in the comics they're hugely celebrated, but I mean, has there ever been a good Fantastic Four film? Has there ever been one that wasn't like laughably bad? I don't know. I think maybe he just walked away to keep his name out of it. I don't know.
Well, so they did both release statements. Marvel basically said he was great working with him on 3 films. So there's a rumor from Deadline who initially reported it, and they said there is no bad blood.
Yeah.
It's just that he needs a break, which he's been directing Spider-Man movies for 7 fucking years. Like I could actually understand that valid point. However, maybe something else going on. We don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe we're just talking shit over here. Maybe we're spewing rumors.
Maybe we're onto something, you know? Maybe we're getting there. We're getting to the center of this thing.
I got a great piece of news for you.
Hit me with it.
Legends of Tomorrow and Batwoman were canceled at the CW.
Really trimming the fat over there at the CW, huh?
Yeah, so apparently the Superman and Lois show is doing pretty well.
Yeah.
That was renewed. The Flash is about over. I think, like, what's his name? Grant Gustin.
Mm-hmm.
What a superhero name that guy's got out of the box.
Right.
Grant Gustin was only signed on for like one more season, so I think that's going to be over soon. It's like the fall of the House of, I don't know, Atlantic. Yeah. I'm making a Coheed reference there. It's not working out too well. Like, who cares, right? Like, I didn't watch The Arrow. I didn't watch the only show on the CW I ever gave any time to was Flash, and Flash took a shit after like 3 seasons. It was just not good anymore.
And that's the only reason I won't watch it. Same reason I won't watch Arrow. Well, Arrow got canceled anyway, I guess is what you're saying.
It ended. It didn't get canceled. Yeah.
So, like, people say that the first few seasons of Flash are like incredible, and then it gets so like embarrassingly stupid. I've seen clips that I'm just like, no, I'm not gonna be built up into like enjoying a show just to see it fall from grace. I can't do it.
The first season of Flash is fantastic.
Yeah.
From a story perspective, like, it covers the same story. It kind of stole from Flashpoint a little bit.
Flashpoint was great.
in that it stems around him. They do it a little differently in the show because they had to work in, like, he has to get his powers first.
Yeah.
And all that. But the whole time it's like someone killed his mother. He didn't know who. And then he finds out who it is towards the end and goes back to stop it, a la Flashpoint. And then doesn't when he realizes that in order to save everyone else, he has to let her die.
Yeah.
And it's like I'm getting choked up thinking about it. You can go find, and I know he does it with every superhero property, but you can find Kevin Smith, and I don't mean like regular crying, like ugly crying, because it is such a good. It
doesn't take
scene.
much to get him to cry, so I can imagine he really lost it at that part.
Holy shit, though, dude! The first season's worth watching. If you just ignore that the rest of the show exists, it's worth watching. Anyway, if you're ever super bored, not weird news. Interesting news.
Hang on. Speaking of the Flash, did we go over the fact that Ezra Miller got arrested again?
I don't think we did. In Hawaii this time.
The only reason I want to bring it up is because I feel like he has to be the most unbearable person to be friends with in real life. He's a great actor. Like, there's nothing there. There's no issue with his body of work whatsoever. But holy shit, he just seems like a fucking villain. Have you seen like videos of how he acts in public? He is unbearable, dude.
The way he dresses at most public occasions.
Oh my God. Yeah. It just
take those two things together. Yeah. And you understand what is Ezra Miller.
Yeah.
I mean, I have to imagine that at a certain point they're just gonna boot him out of the fucking movies. I mean,
it's gonna happen.
He's basically playing like where in the world is Carmen Sandiego, but instead of finding Carmen Sandiego, he's trying to find a punchable face in every continent he goes to. So
this is what happens though. Like, I'm not trying to have some deeper social commentary here, but I swear to God, this is what happens when you give kids unfathomable amounts of money. They just lose their fucking minds. I mean, you're not supposed to have that much money when you're like 15 or however old he was when he really took off. Like, It's just not. Everybody gave back in the day. Everybody gave Justin Bieber shit, and of course he's an asshole. But if you were 13 years old and you were worth $8 million or whatever he was, you'd turn out a fucking asshole too. It's like there's just something. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is.
How old does that make you feel? Remember when you first heard about Bieber and you're like, yeah, he's some YouTuber who blew up.
Yeah. He's some
now
kid.
He's married.
Yeah.
Now
he's like resolved his own like trauma. Like he's good. He's good to go. He's happy.
He seems
Justin.
like a fuck you for getting the money and then figuring out life.
It worked
Most
out
of us
for
just
you.
have to
I want to
figure
see
out
you
life.
in rehab. God damn it.
Yeah. Have a couple trips and stumbles. And welcome to episode 65. Bitter and old.
Yeah. We're like 5 years older than him too. It's not even that much.
I know. But because we're not rich, we look like we're 15 years older than him.
Oh yeah.
My man is in shape. He's a cutie pie. Grow a couple gray hairs in there. You get a spot in line.
Yeah. You'll get there. You'll get there, Juice.
We'll make sure you get there. Square Enix sold some shit, right? They sold.
My goodness. Yeah, they did.
Tomb Raider and the Deus Ex.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I don't know how I feel about this.
Square
Cool.
Enix is a terrible, like they're really turning into a terrible company. Apparently their reasoning for doing this was to like get into blockchain NFT type stuff.
Oh no.
To like give themselves the infrastructure to implement that into their like flagship franchises. It's just a shame because like Deus Ex, I'm not into those games, but people do really love them. But the new Tomb Raider games, I don't know if you've played them. They're fucking incredible. They're like
very, very good.
super good. So I hope that they get sucked up by, I think it was THQ Nordic or something.
They made Darksiders.
Yeah. So hopefully, they'll well, first of all, continue with those IPs and, do something nice with them.
Do something nice with them. Yeah. Hopefully. I didn't, I owned the third Tomb Raider and I never finished it, but
Same.
I played 1 and 2 and liked them both a lot.
Very good games.
The third one starts off amazingly. You're trekking up the mountain and shit. I just didn't finish it.
Oh, well, you know what? I got that on Xbox One and I got like a couple hours in and it just kept freezing. And apparently that was a thing. Like the Xbox One just didn't handle it well.
I played them all on PCs.
But they bought all or rather sold all those for fucking $300 million, which like
that feels low.
Yeah. And for like very common household titles, especially Tomb Raider. I mean, everybody fucking, even people who don't play video games know what Tomb Raider is.
Yeah.
That is like super low. I'm assuming that's only like the video game aspect I'm assuming for like the movies, some like movie studio must own the rights to that. I don't know, but that's my assumption. There's no way the brand itself would be lumped into a $300 million deal.
Did you see the Tomb Raider remake movie?
Yeah, I liked it. It wasn't great, but I liked it.
I don't think I saw it.
Yeah.
Huh. I'll worry about that off stream or off pod.
It has the woman who plays the android in Ex Machina is Lara Croft.
Right. Vikander?
Yeah,
Alicia
something like that.
Something like that.
Very good actor.
Some crazy stuff. Oh, yes. A very good. Oh, good one. Good one. You got it.
Got it. Nailed it.
We pat ourselves on the back for expected behavior around here. I'll pat you on the back for expected behavior. Yeah. Okay. Last piece of week in review. I feel like we're flying through. We are.
Yeah, we are.
We were We were over 2 hours last week, so we're gonna be cruising and bruising through this one.
That's right.
The Steam Deck. This is good news. So I didn't put this in because I thought it was gonna spark crazy discussion. I put this article in because I'm just happy to see support continue for the thing that I would like to eventually purchase. The Steam Deck has like tripled, I think, the amount of like confirmed games that will run on the platform. So here's the deal. When the Steam Deck launched, it had about 400 games, 399 that were mentioned as confirmed, plus 300 that were listed as playable, with some issues. Now that number is about, okay, so now the confirmed is 1,289, and a further like 1,170 are playable. So like the number of available games for the Steam Deck went from, you know, what, like 700 if you count both playable and verified to just about 2,500 now.
Yeah.
In a month, which is fucking crazy. And that's great to hear, because Valve's biggest problem ever with any piece of hardware or tech they've ever released was that if it didn't get traction right away, Valve fucking forgot about it. Like the Steam Link was a great concept, and no one cared. They were giving them away. I literally got one for $1.
What was the Steam Link? Like what was that?
The Steam Link was basically in inter-network streaming. So
right.
I would buy a Steam Link and plug it into my TV downstairs and plug in. You could have a Wi-Fi adapter on it, but you know, hardwired is better. So I plug it into network, and then I can link it to my Steam library and stream games from my PC upstairs to the TV downstairs.
Oh, okay.
And the Steam Link was a little box. It was like this big, that you could put controllers into, or keyboards. So you could plug those in there, play from your couch, stuff that was on your computer. I immediately bought one, and I used it for a little bit, and then the novelty kind of wore off.
Yeah.
And I realized that the applicable situations that I would want to use this in this manner were kind of small. Yeah. Because it wasn't like, unlike Ron, where you guys are both gamers who are usually playing stuff, Samantha's not really. So I'm basically just sucking up the TV for something I could be doing in the other room. It only really worked out when like I was playing like Resident Evil 7, I think had just come out. And she wanted to watch me play it because it felt like a movie to her. Yeah. So she's basically watching a scary movie. It was a cool concept. The Steam controller was more of a flop. People didn't like the touchpads at all. But Valve's got a long and storied history of build it and forget it exists. Yeah. So I'm happy to see the kind of dedication being shown to the Steam Deck. I mean, we talked about them literally optimizing Elden Ring so it ran better on a Steam Deck than it did on a PC. Yeah. That kind of maneuverability with that platform is astounding, and I hope more and more games pile up. I hope more support grows. I hope version 2 of this thing is phenomenal.
Yeah, I've heard people say good things about it. I mean, it's pretty much if you go in expecting, well, what they've advertised it as is a portable computer that you can play shit on Medium on. The only thing that's a downside to it is like the battery life, which again, like I don't know if I'm just sounding like I'm sucking their dicks, but it's like, to me, if you're going to have a portable computer, you should probably expect it. You know what I mean? Like something that powerful can't have a battery that's going to last very long. You should probably have that bad boy plugged into a wall.
Right.
But
I mean, look at the Switch, for example. It can barely run Mortal Kombat 10 at 30 frames per second. Yeah. So of course it lasts for as long as it does. I'm happy to hear it too. I cannot add anything you have not already said. Is that a Hydro Flask? It is. Hey, we have 2 of them. They're our sponsor. Hey, I fucking love Hydro Flask, thing, dude. Yeah. This is Samantha's. Mine's actually dirty. I have a gray one. Oh, so you went with the lid spout. I just have the cap. See, you're an asshole. You're gonna spill water all over yourself. You fucked up. Not yet. It's gonna happen. You're gonna hastily take a sip one day. It's gonna run down the corners of your lips. What can I say? I'm a thirsty boy. At work. Yeah. Only with cum. My only only after I'm just too anxious, you know. Right. Okay, so that's all that we can review. That's it. We got it. And I already shilled. The only thing I didn't mention earlier was if you want to email us, it's questions@thecynicalnerd.com. Jarek, myself, and Tyler now. Yes. Would be happy to review and answer your stuff. Also, with Twitter, and you know what? Fuck it. TikTok too now. If you have a question for us or a correction, #AskTCN. Actually, sorry. If you have a question or comment, it's AskTCN. If you have a problem or we messed up, it's hashtag fuck TCN.
Fuck TCN.
That'll get
Very
you
important distinction.
right into our ear holes.
Yes. Wedged within.
Wedged. I was going to say entwine, but it doesn't work at all. Anyway, 3 trailers to talk about. Okay.
Go ahead.
I don't care.
Let's
I don't
get it
care
out of
about
the
the first. Yeah, Jurassic World
do it.
Dominion. In a way, I respect this trailer because they take the ridiculous premise of what happens if dinosaurs were just like roosting in fucking New York City, and they really just lean into it. Like, you know, they show Chris Pratt's at this point just hated everyman character that I'm so over Chris Pratt. I don't. Him being a star in this film alone is one of the reasons I don't care about this film.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's a big, like, if they would have gotten rid of him after the first one, I'd be like, all right, I kind of want to check it out now.
Yeah. If the Raptor Blue ate him like it absolutely would have, in real life, then, you know, yeah. But, yeah, no, I mean, this title is just like.
Oh, did you see James Gunn? Like, gun for him, pun fully intended. People are calling for him to be recasted, or for the role of Star-Lord to be recasted, because he's allegedly associated with some. I don't know the full story, and so I don't want to pretend I do. But
no, I want you to give me half truth information, so I can be angry
just
about
become
it.
Infuriated, right? So he's apparently
set me off, Daddy.
A part of a church that's known for being very like bigoted or something. And so people are like,
believe that.
Right. It's right. Like it's kind of easy to believe. His brother is confirmed to be a part of that church, and he's very loud about it. So anyway, like
those brothers.
So like the news broke out, and people are like, they want, I can never remember the guy's name. And he was in one of the movies that we're covering in Main Topics. He was the second Night Owl in Watchmen. Great actor. Can never remember his name.
Patrick.
Yeah, him.
I love him. I know exactly who you're talking about.
They're calling for him to be recast as Star-Lord. And James Gunn was like, if they ever get rid of Chris Pratt, I'm going with him. He's a great guy. And blah, blah. He like
Patrick
done
Wilson.
for him on Twitter. But anyway, I'm sorry. I cut you off.
Patrick Wilson.
Patrick Wilson.
And I actually love that guy.
He's an excellent, excellent actor.
Yeah, he seems like a cool dude.
He really
does. Oh boy, we get to talk about Moonfall today. I forgot.
We sure do.
Oh boy, we sure do. Oh man. Yeah, this movie is like if Spinal Tap, when they make the jokes about the amp going to 11.
Yeah.
Well, just imagine this analogy. The amp is just Jurassic Park content, and by that I mean just dinosaurs mixed with humans in situations they ought not be mixed in. And cranked up to 11. That's what this trailer feels like to me.
Yeah.
The only shining gem, and again, they know this is the third time it's happened in a major franchise in the last 10 years, that if you bring back the original actors, then my ape brain will immediately give it a little bit more leeway.
Yeah.
Maybe not a lot, but a little bit. And they got back the whole... Jeff Goldblum. I forget the other 2 actors' names.
Yeah.
But the original cast.
We just call
Dr. Grant. Yeah. From the original film, and that had me at least a little bit more interested. But this movie just looks like a CGI fuckfest.
Yeah.
I
will say this: I saw the trailer for this when I went and saw The Northman, and everything you said against it is 100% accurate. Fuck Chris Pratt. Fuck all the CGI. But I was like, I can see myself one day, like one rainy Sunday morning, getting stoned out of my mind and actually watching the new trilogy. I did see the first one, but it just turned me off of ever wanting to see the second one and now the third one. But, it's lowbrow entertainment. There's nothing wrong with that, as we'll get into with Moonfall shortly.
I feel like our title has to in some way reference Chris Pratt, whether it's not him directly or his church. We'll talk about it offline. It's called Hillsong Church.
Hillsong Church. Okay. Sounds like something from Elden Ring.
Yeah, Hildong Church. Anyway, okay. Moving along. I feel like I was singing a Dora the Explorer song there. All right. The next 2 trailers I actually really liked. Spoiler alert. I'm jumping ahead of myself. So I tossed this one in like last night because we were really light on trailers, and also because I love George Carlin. George Carlin's like one of those icons that lives up to the hype for me. I don't know if it's true of for you too, but I you know, people when they talk about the greats of comedy, they talk about Richard Pryor and they talk about George Carlin and they talk about, you know, in modern day, usually Dave Chappelle's name pops up. I think of Bill Burr in that. Tom Segura is quickly putting himself in that same cadre of people for me anyway. I can't wait to go see him again in August. You know, I've grown up loving him. Some of Carlin's classic rants and jokes I'll never be able to forget. A shit piss fuck cunt cocksucker motherfucker. You know, 50-50 between his actual skit for it and because Blink-182 sang it as a song on their live album. That was the best live album any of my favorite bands at the time had ever put out. Because they just tell like poopy and dick jokes in between every song. It's hilarious.
Mark, Tom, and Travis show is so fucking peak, dude. It's so good.
Peak Blink-182. So good. They were such fucking dicks to each other all the time.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, so watching this trailer, so it's a documentary, HBO, called George Carlin's American Dream about his life, and I'm sure there's going to be a ton of stuff about him in this I don't know, but it's weird because the trailer's not emotional, and watching the trailer, I felt things. I feel like there's a one point where he's on this rant, and I think it's because the shit he talks about is somehow still incredibly relevant to everyday life. And he's talking, and I got like, I know it's a, you know, one of those like cliche sayings, but I got like goosebumps, and then I felt like things welling up in me. Like he's just one of those guys that I'm like, I'm staring at comedic history.
Yeah.
And I can't wait, and I'll stop rambling.
Me too.
How do you feel about the
I'm really looking forward to this. I do love George Carlin. Would probably say he's the first stand-up comedian I ever got into, I think. He's a very interesting guy. He's sort of an anomaly because like everybody he just talked about political issues or like sociological issues, I guess we'll say. And like
towards the end,
everybody on the political spectrum, no matter where you are in this, you know, like political diagram, political compass, whatever, every single person on every single like pixel of that diagram thinks that George Carlin was like of their party. You know what I mean? Like you'll see like libertarians touting him, but then like the left does. And then like conservatives, it's like everybody, because he was just complaining about shit that is universally known. I actually got a little emotional during this too, just knowing that he got so bitter towards the end of his life after his wife died. And that really comes through in a lot of his stand-ups towards the end. It's less like making glib commentary and more like he's just angry that the world is so fucked up and like nothing can be done to ever change it.
It's just like, it becomes far more biting.
Yeah.
Like, I know exactly what you mean.
I don't know much about the first half of his career, though. Like, that's something that I realized watching this is like everything I've seen. Like, he was an old man when I was a kid. So, like, I don't know that beginning when, you know, he had long hippie hair and all that shit. One thing that was like horrifying to me about this is like, it's just a weird fear that I have in general. But like, when you're dead and people make a documentary about you, people can say whatever the fuck they want about you. And it's like, again, like you have people in this trailer that are like of different points of the political spectrum. And they're also like, here's the real story on George Carlin. And it's like, he's dead. It's not like he can show up and be like, oh, actually what I meant by that is
right.
I don't know. There's just a weird, that has nothing to do with my hype level for this documentary. It's just something I thought while watching it. And something that occurs to me whenever I watch documentaries on people that are dead. It's just weird to hear people talk about dead people that they may or may not have even known when they were alive. But no, I think it looks really great. I'm excited for it.
Yeah.
I didn't even know he had a daughter. Like I did just so already I'm learning.
I didn't know I knew he had been in the game for a while because even when we were young, I mean, he was, like you said, primetime Carlin at that point, but like people were talking about how iconic he is. But I didn't realize he had been in the game for so long.
Yeah.
Like 5 decades is what they said is insane.
Well, so that's
crazy.
like the other thing that's interesting is like us as audience members we see all of his best hits and yada yada, and we see the best parts of him. But you see, there's a part even in this trailer where Bill Burr's like, "Oh, we went to his show to laugh at him because he was that old, washed-up comedian."
Yeah.
And then he ended up like revitalizing his career.
He crushed it, I think he said.
Yeah, I've heard like a lot of other comedians talk about how like he went through these ebbs and flows where like he would go on stage and he wasn't even telling jokes. He was just like complaining or like telling stories for like 90 minutes, and the audience was like, I paid money to come here and laugh, Chief. Like, what's going on right now? So I hope they broach on that kind of stuff with it. I hope it's not just like an over glorification. Yeah. I want to know like the real, beginning to end story of it. So hopefully they deep dive into the grimy stuff too.
I think they're gonna, because just in the trailer alone, they talked about how he they put a joke in there that he said on air about doing all the cocaine in like a 2-mile radius or something. But they talked about how he was like always fucked up, and like he put a rift between him and his mom or whatever, him and his wife. So I just have to say something. This comes out May 20th. It's very soon. Just thanks to our sponsor, HBO Max. You guys have been absolutely killing it with content.
Yeah.
And you know that we mean that because you guys don't pay us anything to shill for you, and we keep shilling.
We just keep doing it.
I am astonished at the amount of shit that I care about or am interested in that HBO Max has got me to watch.
Yeah.
Like one of the things we're talking about this week is We Own This City, the first episode for it.
Yeah.
I just, there's constantly, not only is it constantly interesting content, but it's like, oh, next month? Like they keep surprising me. I'm like, oh, this is
they
like
have
3
a great
weeks
release
away.
schedule.
Yeah, it's been fantastic.
Yeah.
Anyway, subscribe to HBO Max, and maybe one day they'll send us money for shilling for them. Yeah, notice me, Senpai. Notice me. Anyway, last trailer to talk about. This is a fun one. We talked about this a while ago as far as the announcement of the movie. There's a Weird Al Yankovic movie coming out on the Roku channel. Okay, guys. I mean, hey, get your financing wherever you can get your financing, right? Can't fault you for hustling and getting the story made. We talked about before how the description of it sounded like it was not going to be an actual biopic. It was going to be like a tongue-in-cheek film, which is the only thing that makes sense because it's Weird Al. He would, in my estimation, never do anything super duper serious in his career. It wouldn't be fun. It wouldn't be him.
Yeah.
And so we got this trailer finally for the Al Yankovic story with Daniel Radcliffe as Weird Al. And I love this teaser. It looks fucking crazy. And I've been more and more in love with the weird little side roles that Radcliffe has been taking ever since his turn as Harry Potter. Even though I wasn't a super huge fan of Swiss Army Man, he's fun in that.
Yeah.
Even just being a dead body, like, for most of the fucking movie.
That's still a bummer to me.
It didn't, I don't know. Maybe I should try watching it again. But, no, I mean, he's done some interesting stuff since he left Potter, and this looks just fucking ridiculous. Yeah. And, I'm about it. How'd you feel about it? Uh-oh.
There's always no. There's always like a new genre defying shtick that comes out that that like movies are going to follow that diagram for a while. And that I think was Bohemian Rhapsody. All of a sudden now we're seeing all these other like famous musician biopics dropping, like the John Elton one. I think there's a Kurt Cobain one in production, and now this, and it's like I don't know, like a piece of me just is, I feel like they don't actually represent what happened in the artist's life. Like I know there's a lot of stuff in with the Bohemian Rhapsody that like Queen, the like living band members demanded were not in the movie. There were parts of the NWA movie, Straight Outta Compton. Like Dr. Dre, obviously, who's still alive, Ice Cube, they were like, all right, well, you can't cover this about my life. You can't cover that. And it's like, it's no longer an honest depiction of like the story. It's just like a beautified version of it. And I just don't like that formula. There's just something that doesn't sit right in my stomach about that. Of course, I was just talking about how it's weird to talk about people once they're dead. And now I'm insinuating that you should wait until people die so that you can tell an honest story about them.
Right.
But no, it does, it was a teaser trailer. Not a whole lot going on. I don't know if it's going to follow that formula that I just said or not. It looks like it's one of those like highly dedicated period pieces, like they want it to just look and feel like the time period. I always like that. It's just a cool little sneak peek into another time.
Yeah.
And that one's not too far off from where we are now, so that aspect of it is kind of cool. I'm in the middle. I'm not yay or nay on this yet.
Well, so, and I mean, it's just to your point about waiting until someone's dead. How else would you show everyone how good of a ceiling painter Kurt Cobain was unless you waited until after?
Couldn't do that when he was still alive. Wouldn't make sense.
Oh, yes. Okay. Sorry. That was brutal. So the difference in my brain is that like the Rocket Man movie with Taron Egerton, like they are supposed to be dramatized, and this is almost like a riff on that.
Yeah.
Like they know they're being silly. Like the first comment on the fucking trailer is, "I appreciate Daniel Radcliffe putting in the work to properly portray Weird Al's shredded physique." Like we all know this doesn't look like Weird Al. We're not stupid. Weird Al's a goofy looking guy. I love him, but he's not. There's a scene with him with his shirt off, spitting alcohol into the air. It's like the casting of Radcliffe is like so bizarre, but I love it at the same time. And I just, as long as the movie feels like, and obviously it's being done, with Weird Al himself helping to write some of the movie. It's going to be that kind of thing where it's extremely lightly based on real events, and it's just going to be a ridiculous fever dream fucking ride where Daniel Radcliffe is playing Weird Al Yankovic, and I'm looking forward to it. I think it looks fun. As long as they don't do what you're talking about, because I agree. Like the whole like, if you're dramatizing it and trying to tell people it's real, fuck you.
Yeah.
If you're like over the top with it and having fun, and I can tell that you're having fun, then I'll probably have a good time as well. And that is my final word. All right. We're actually done. Our trailers. We're zoomies. We're just clocking it in an hour. We got our MTs coming up. All right. What do you want to do first? So this week we have the fifth and penultimate episode of Moon Knight. We Own This City from HBO. Moonfall and the horror film X. Which one would you like to start with?
I want to end with Moonfall. Other than that, I don't care.
Oh, okay. I'm going to end with Moonfall. So we'll do Moon Knight right before Moonfall because you got to keep the two moons together.
Yeah. It wouldn't make sense otherwise.
Yeah, moon's over Miami. So let's start off with the second week in a row we talked about Denny's. Let's start off with the horror film X.
Let's do it.
So this movie just released not too long ago, and Derek and I took a little look-see to see what the
took a little peek-a-rooney about.
Like a little peek-a-rooney. I think Brittany Snow is her name, one of the main characters in the film. I love her.
Premium
she seems
honey.
like a southern, like a belle. You know what I mean? So I didn't know anything about this movie besides seeing two long legs on the trailer formed an X, and I went, of course. Horror movie. Let me just boil this movie down for you. I'm not going to tell you if I liked it or hated it. This movie is about an old woman who's really mad that she can't fuck.
Yeah.
And she's so mad that she can't fuck that she kills all these young teens who she probably feels like are rubbing it in her face.
Because they can fuck. And they do. And they are.
And they do. And they get paid for it.
Yeah. It's their like whole thing.
The end. That's the whole movie.
Yep.
This movie got a lot of good praise.
Mm-hmm.
And I won't say I don't understand it. I liked this movie, but it was just like, okay. Like I wasn't like, wow, you're reinventing the genre. I didn't think any of the kills were particularly like memorable. Mm-hmm. I didn't even, if I stepped back from what I was watching, because of the, what's the word I'm looking for? The atmosphere of the film is great. If you're sitting in the moment, it can be very dreadful sometimes. But then I step back and I'm like, they're being chased by two geriatric people.
Yeah.
Like, this is ridiculous, but you're making me like feel a sense of dread because so good job to the cinematographer and the way they did sound for it. Sound mixing was excellent.
Yeah.
It was okay. I watched it. It was the thing I watched. I'll never watch it again. I had a good time watching it. I don't know. I'm more and more beginning to think like I just don't give a shit about horror movies that much unless they're like revelatory.
I don't either, but you know, I'll say like I did like this, but that's it. Like I wasn't like wow, but it was a good movie. You know, the things about it that I liked were the editing and cinematography, sound editing, all that was great. I actually did like some of the kills. A lot of them were boring, but the one where she like stabs the dude and just like gores his throat right in front of the van.
Oh, yeah.
And then the like blood sprays under the headlights and it makes everything all red. Like I thought that was really
cool. Definitely.
I thought that I mean you said it, the atmosphere was great. For a horror movie, yeah, it was good. I had a good time. The thing that I didn't like about it, and I'm not saying that a horror movie has to make a point, but it felt like this one was like started to make a point, but then like never really finished it. And so it didn't communicate whatever it's, I guess it had something to do with like fleeting youth or sexuality or something, but that's what I mean. Like, I don't know. Like it seemed like it started to make, fuck while you can. It seemed like it started to make a point, and then it has these different characters who are sort of on different ends of, like this sexual spectrum, I guess, but none of them really like proved or supported a point in any way. So they had like the one young chick who was on the AV team who was like, I think doing sound or something. And she has this whole thing where she's like, well, I want to do it. I want to be in this scene. I want to be a part of this, you know, whatever. And so it just makes you think like, well, how is she going to tie into whatever this narrative is? And then she just freaks out and gets shot in the neck and dies. And like, there's no point of having her be a fixated character whatsoever. Like, you know what I mean? Like they kept her alive in the basement and then she gets out and just dies. It's like, what was the point? There doesn't have to be a point. I want to be clear. I'm not trying to sound like a snood barrier or anything, but it's like, if you're going to pretend you're making a point, make the point. Like, don't just abandon it. And it felt like there was an underlying message that they just went like, whatever, you know, like halfway through. That being said, for just like, for a horror movie, it was good. Like I didn't regret watching it or anything, but I didn't think it was great, but
maybe that's what it is. I'm deleting a video from the Dropbox, by the way. Don't be startled.
Okay.
Maybe that's what it is that kind of bums me out about these movies. It's even the ones that are not incredibly shallow, even the ones that are not the Texas Chainsaw Massacre reboot. Sorry, still poo-pooing that movie.
It was really bad.
Even the ones who are not just like a callback to the original for the sake of being a callback to the original, like this film, it felt like an original premise. They're coming out here trying to make a porn. This geriatric couple, she's clearly got a screw or two loose and wants that old dick, and he can't do it. And she sees this, and then you know, whatever. The whole premise of the film, like you said, they give everyone a voice in this movie. Like all the characters are coming from a different spot. You got the African American guy. Sorry, I guess it would just be a Black American. Yeah, played by Kid Cudi, who's awesome. And he was a war vet, but. What was the point? Like, why? What was the point of him being a war vet? There's a couple scenes where it's like he kind of relates to this old guy who, at the time this movie took place in, would most likely have been horribly racist towards him. Yeah. So it's just, there's all these like interesting details, but it just feels like they just all got tossed into a blender. Yeah. Like literally because everyone dies. Yeah. I just like, what's the fucking point? There isn't a point just because you murder her. And maybe that's what just in general makes me not so averse to, you know. Horror movies are like, never mind. Well, you gotta say here's all these. I mean, it's like, here's all these interesting threads, and they're dead. Like, I just don't get it. I don't understand the allure. I guess that's why they're not for me, right? Yeah. I still watch them, but they always disappoint me in some way or another. Very really few almost always do. This one didn't disappoint me. I'll say that. No, like but I wasn't sad. I watched it. I had a good time with it. At the end, I was just like, okay. Yeah. If we didn't talk about it on the podcast, I wouldn't even have told Samantha how I thought about it. Yeah. Like, I don't care to talk about it. Yeah, it's just the difference between me and people who are like super into like certain like genres. Like I can't understand where you're coming from with stuff like that because it just disappointed me. Anyway, moving on. I've been harping on that for a while. We Own the City. Mm-hmm. Our new series with our baby boy Johnny Bernthal has released on HBO Max. I don't remember how many. I don't remember how many parts are in this miniseries, to be honest with you,
Right.
TBH. But I am enjoying it so far. It's a slow burn first episode that's setting the scene for what's going on. It looks like they're pulling people in to start an investigation. Some of it's told in like an interview format, like, oh, this guy, and then they cut to that guy doing some kind of shady shit. I've seen lots of people compare it to The Wire so far, saying it's like a spiritual successor to it. If that's the case, I'm excited to keep watching. I'm already excited to keep watching. I feel like I haven't, although we probably have, if I think hard enough about it. I feel like I haven't watched like a real gritty, like a street drama. I don't know what you would call it in a while. And it was what I was looking forward to the most. It sounds lame to say, but like you and I watch and review superhero movie shit so often that when I see like, I'm like, oh, this is based on like real events and like real people and no one's flying or shooting laser beams or blue things in the sky. Let's fucking do it. Not to say that I'm getting tired of blue laser beams. I can't wait to see Doctor Strange 2. But you know what I'm saying. It's a nice change of pace.
Yeah.
How did you feel about We Own the Shitty?
I watched it in 2 parts. I watched the first half Saturday, and then I watched the second half last night. And when I was watching the first half, I was not into it. I was like, man, I don't know. Like it just seemed like this. Every now and then you get a movie or a show or whatever that takes place in a specific state or a specific part of that state. That's sort of like an homage to that area of the world or whatever. And this just seemed like it was going so heavily on like, we know Baltimore, that it was like almost overbearing. Like they would have these things where like, no, we didn't see Jimmy on Market Street. We saw Jimmy on Timilcombe Street. And then the music would like, duh, like it meant something. I'm like, I don't know what any of these fucking places are. Like you're just saying words right now. I felt like the acting, other than with a select few, was very bad. And I still feel that way. However, when I watched the second half, maybe I was like dreading it. I'm like, I really wasn't into like how this got set up. The second half of the episode did hook me though. I don't know why. Like, I don't know what was different about it.
That's what I was saying. It was like, it started off, it felt slow to me, but what you're describing is more accurate. I felt like I couldn't relate to the show at all.
Yeah. And the other thing is like, I've just recently watched season 1 of True Detective, and I can't remember if you've ever seen that, but that will, especially being recent in my memory, like any show about police work or like detectives or like following leads is just going to live in that show's shadow for a really long time, because that show is like fucking perfect. That season anyway. I didn't watch the rest of it. In any event, this is obviously based on a true event. So
right.
By the end, they scoop Bernthal, Johnny B, up. And but really, it's a testament to his acting. There's that scene where the commissioner goes in to quote unquote, talk to him, and he just stares right at him. And you're like, what the hell is this scene supposed to represent? And then the commissioner walks out and says to the guy, like, every single other person I went in there looked away from me, and he just stared me right in the eyes. And it's just like, I don't know. I just got goosebumps from that scene, and I don't know. That's what hooked me. For whatever reason, first half didn't do it for me. Maybe it was my mood. Like, that really does affect how I enjoy a movie or a show. I went in to the second half of it fully expecting to not like it, and ironically enough, got more sucked into it.
Sorry, I'm multitasking with the
Multitask
wife
away.
and the child. Multitizzle! Yeah, no, I felt the same way. I almost exactly. I watched the whole thing at one time, and like I said, I started it, and I was like, really?
Yeah.
Like, I expected this to be good. And at the end of it, I'm like, okay, let's bring on the next part. Once it come out, let me do it. I'm on board, so we'll look forward to that. We may not review that week to week. We may wait till it's over.
Right.
It really depends. It's going to depend heavily on what the episodes have in them. If they have something worth talking about, even if it's not topical, but it's just really cool, or one of us is excited to talk about it. Fuck it.
Yeah. But if it's just like they followed more leads and found more stuff out, it's kind of hard to just cover that every week.
If every week it's like more corruption, then you're like, well, okay, but wasn't last week about the corruption? Anyway, yeah, so we'll keep an eye on that one. Okay. We have 2 things left to talk about.
2.
One is Moon Knight episode 5, and I got to tell you a secret.
Tell me.
Sometimes I watch a Marvel show that we're reviewing for the podcast, and I will gleefully send you a message and like try to get you to give me an idea of how you felt about it because I really liked it. And I'm very proud of myself because I loved this episode.
Yeah.
And I wanted to send you a message and I didn't.
Well, then you must have been in a fugue state because you did send me a message.
Shh. Wait, what did the message
you
say?
You fully 100% did. You
no,
said,
I didn't.
Yes, you did. I'm going to prove you wrong.
Oh, okay. No. I know what you're talking about. I think I said like this is the emotional episode or something like that. Right. I remember it now. In my mind, that doesn't count.
Okay.
Because
then it doesn't.
I said, you watch episode 5 yet? Heavy stuff in this one.
Okay.
That's all I said.
That's not an endorsement. You're right. Okay.
Because usually I'd go, holy shit, gotta watch it. Did you like it?
Yeah.
Because I can't help myself. Anyway, episode 5, Moon Knight, the penultimate episode. Last week when we talked about the show, I talked about how, in my mind, and it's not 100% accurate, but in my mind, this show was doing the opposite of WandaVision, where WandaVision started off weird and wonky and interesting, and then slowly just fell into this Marvel mold that was like the finale could have been in any other movie or TV show, and been completely uninteresting. And I hope that this show continued to do that. And at least from my perspective, it did. This episode was balls to the wall, leading into the Egyptian mythos and the DID nature of this character. Him working on literally his own demons. What's her name? Towerette, I think. Something.
Sure. T. It begins and ends with a T, and there's a W.
It's Towerette. We'll go with that. Probably wrong. But it's really cool to see, Steven and Mark together as two separate entities. And Mark, he's like, we're talking to a hippo. We got to be crazy. And he's like, no, this is Towerette. She's the, goddess of fertility and whatever. And she's going to, and we've heard this before. It happened in stupid games like Assassin's Creed Origin, which is Egyptian based, where, you get weighed when you die. It's a popular belief that they weigh your soul against a feather, I think, your heart against a feather.
Yeah.
And if they come out balanced, you get to go into the afterlife. If they don't, you go down the Duat, I think.
Yeah.
There's a lot of terminology being thrown around this episode.
I like to call it Dirty Town.
They take you down to the D-Town.
Take you down to Dirty Town.
Take you down to Dirty Town. So this whole episode was roughly based around Mark, who after this episode, we've come to find out, or at least they want us to believe, because it's still all over the place, that Mark is the primary personality. And due to some childhood trauma, that's where Steven came from. And this episode broke my fucking heart. I don't know if it's the whole being a parent thing, but watching what happened to him as a kid was fucking horrible. So, heavy spoiler alert here. Well, you know what? Here, I'll stop. I want you to give general thoughts, and then we'll go into the details of the episode. How'd you feel about episode 5?
So, first of all, Oscar Isaac is an exceptional actor. I mean, really, really incredible. And we saw, I think this is the first time we in the show have really seen him stretch his legs. Not that he's been bad for the rest of the show, but this is when he really put like what he's known for into it. I always think it's kind of weird and ironic, like when an actor does such a good job at acting through a traumatic scene that it reminds you of traumatic things that you went through because you actually experienced that and they're just acting. But anyway, the scene where he's like outside of his mother's,
God.
And he like falls to his hands and knees and he's like sobbing and he's like convulsing.
You're gonna make me cry thinking about it.
Yeah, no, it was intense. Like it was really, and I was like amazed and I teared up watching it. And then, but what I realized is this: Oscar Isaac being a really good actor is not enough for me to like this show. I don't like this show. I think it's boring.
Oh, okay.
I think that he's a great actor and that those scenes were great. And if you were to somehow like excise that and put it into like another show where I could just watch Oscar Isaac be a great actor, that would be excellent. But I found myself like once that scene was over and then they're back on the boat with the fucking hippo, I'm like, I don't care about this. I don't give a
Really,
shit.
man.
Dude, not even a little. Like his backstory was great. I loved all that because but like all the superhero shit, it's just not interesting. I don't know why. Maybe I'm burnout. Like maybe I
don't think so. I've seen this opinion. We'll call it the Ryle TM. No, I've seen actually several people who I saw negative reviews for this episode, and for me they were hard to fathom. But they were almost.
The episode is bad though. It's that this was the episode that made me realize I just don't like the show. Of course, I'm going to finish it. There's only one episode left, but
right.
Like I've just been waiting for like a thing to happen, and like I got something. I got Oscar Isaac's unbelievably good acting performance in this episode.
But
really
like
good. That's just his acting. Like what's happening in the world, I don't give a fuck, dude. Like I just don't care. Like it's just not interesting to me, and I can't pinpoint. It's kind of frustrating that I don't know why, because I think Egyptian mythology is an interesting topic to explore and all that. But it's just there's just something about this show that's not getting me. I love Ethan Hawke. I hate every scene that he's in. He's just like, I don't know. Like that's the other thing. Like, what's going on? I maybe I'm dumb, but I don't really get like when one of them freaks out, they're suddenly in a room with him as like a psychiatrist. Like, is he in real life somehow manipulating them?
I don't know that either.
But
not
like
yet.
Why and how? Because isn't he, Mark apparently dying or dead in the real world?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I just don't think that we're going to get some like totally cool explanation for that. It's going to be like, well, your mind attached to him because he, like it's going to just be just some dumb reason. There have been parts of the show so far that like I like, and again, I'm not saying that this episode was bad, and it was just what made me realize that despite having this great experience with a couple scenes of his backstory, that like once it got back into what's going on, I just could not drum up any excitement for what's to come. I really don't care what happens.
Yeah, that's 100% fair though. Like you're not ever here saying it was garbage. I agree with you, but just not to the extent that you're at. So I think the superhero shenanigans part is the worst part of the show.
Yeah.
I still like it enough that like, you know what I mean? Like for me, watching Oscar Isaac is enough for me to say that I like the show. Like my brain's not separating it out and going, well, I guess I kind of don't like the show. I just like Oscar Isaac because to me, he's the main character. So therefore I like the show. Maybe I'm just oversimplifying things in my head, but God damn, that scene was good, dude. You know, what's crazy is an actor who's so good that he can make me be sobbing and then laugh for a second. And then I realized how sad what just happened was, even though it was funny to me, and make me sob again.
Yeah.
So he's crying outside of his parents' home, breaking down in the street. And this is after we find out, again, heavy spoilers here, but you've been warned at the beginning of the episode.
Yeah. It's
kind of our thing here. We don't, then the episode's about to come out tomorrow for the finale. So if you haven't seen 5, fuck out of here.
Then fuck you.
Yeah, fuck you. But we learned, it builds up because slowly throughout the episode, Stephen Grant finds out kind of his origin story, more or less. All the memories he had about his mom being a great lady are not true. He had a younger brother, and he accidentally got his younger brother. He didn't really get his younger brother killed. They were playing their kids. They don't understand fucking flash floods and shit. And the cave they were playing in flash flooded. His brother got trapped and died. And the mother, very unfortunately, was mentally ill. She took the worst path you could take when something like that happens, and she blamed Mark.
Mm-hmm. And
she became an alcoholic, and she would abuse him, and it was all horribly sad. And to a point, I was surprised that Marvel was like okay with this being a character's origin story.
I was surprised that they went as dark as they did with his childhood. Like, not that they showed him getting like physically hit, but still, like, that's subject matter they tend to avoid, or just like have a throwaway line, but like it was very in your face. It was very clear like what was going on.
It's just the particular scene I'm thinking of, like what made me actually go, wow, I'm surprised Marvel allowed this, is when he's in the room and you look up and you see the poster, it says Stephen Grant, and it clicks and you realize exactly what's going on. And he switches to Steven. He's like, oh, I better start cleaning up the room before Mom sees it. Should be, she's beating on the door.
Yeah.
Open up the door. And I'm just like, I'm like welling up as a parent. Like, how could you do this to your son?
Yeah.
Like, Jesus Christ, it was killing me, dude. It's killing me thinking about it.
Well, dude, when she sits down at the table very quickly and she has the bottle of brandy or whatever, and she just immediately stares at him, she's wasting, and she's like, you were always jealous of him. Just like, Marvel doesn't touch on shit like that usually. Like, it was so real and so, like, unsettling. Yeah. I'm sorry, though. Please continue.
No, you're good. And Mark is pushing Steven out of the room, and he's like, I want to see what happens. Like, I want to see what she does. And he's like, this is why you exist. So you don't have to see this shit.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have to feel this. And it was about that time that I went, oh shit, like, this does not feel like a Marvel thing.
Yeah.
It just feels like I'm watching a really good family drama. And then back to the scene I was talking about where I cried. He's crying in the street. He's breaking down. I'm welling up with tears. And he drops down to his knees. He's crying, and he looks up, and you see the personality switch coming. And he switches to Steven, and he goes, what?
Yeah.
And it's like British accent, and I just chuckled because it was a funny delivery. He goes, what? And he's literally got like tears running down his cheeks.
Yeah.
But he's like, oh, I've gone and gotten lost again. And he pulls out the fucking cell phone to call his mom. And I was
dead, like 20 feet away. Yeah.
And he's like, oh, Mom, I'm lost again. You never believe it. Like, I got turned around or something. And I'm just like back to sobbing. So I laughed because of the what delivery, because it felt so goofy, which it is. It was supposed to be. And man, we've been harping on this one scene for a while, but it was so good. But ultimately, as much as I think the Egyptian stuff is fun, I agree the superhero stuff is the worst part of the show. Because, as much as I love all this weird stuff, I feel like it's going to come to a pretty normal head in the finale again.
Yeah.
I hope it doesn't. I hope it's weird as shit. I almost hope that they leave like the is it in your head shit ambiguous, just because he's supposed to be, I don't want to say crazy. He's mentally ill. He's got a disease. He's got a condition.
Yeah.
And that's always been something they played with in the comics, like what's real in the panels that they're showing you and what's not. I don't know where we're going to see him next. I'm pretty sure somebody famous said there was only going to be one season of this.
Yeah.
There were rumors that Marvel was looking to do something with like, I forget what it's called, Midnight Society or some shit. It's basically like all the weird mystic characters like Blade, Black Knight, Moon Knight, Ghost Rider, kind of getting together and Scooby-Doo and shit, all the super spoopy stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know if we'll see him again. Oscar Isaac's doing a fantastic job, though.
You used that properly. I thought you were using the line from No Way Home, but that was an actual proper use of that.
Oh.
Scooby-Doo and shit. Like ghost shit. I get it.
Yeah, I'm a mystery fan, and, I can picture them all, like, hanging out in a floral patterned van getting high as shit. Anyway, that's all I got for Moon Knight. So finale literally drops tomorrow.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it next week alongside the Doctor Strange review, which is going to be extremely timely. One might even say strangely on time. I'm sorry. All right. Last topic of the evening, which is Moonfall. I've talked first on everything today, and I want you to go first. We're talking about Moonfall. How did you feel about it?
I'm happy to go first. This movie is a testament to like everybody who thinks that just because I don't like 4 things that are popular, that I'm just some like snooty wannabe artiste or something.
Just say it. Just say the words.
The stupidest fucking movie in the world, and I loved every fucking millisecond of this movie.
I'm so happy.
One part of this stupid Coke-fueled movie that wasn't just like a blast. Dude, it was so... It's the dumbest... This is what happens...
so stupid.
Like, I complain a lot about stuff like, oh, this is what happens when somebody isn't told no. I'm saying that in a positive way this time. Nobody told this guy no, thank God, because we got this great, stupid, awful movie. It's the same guy who did 2012. I didn't know that until I looked it up afterwards.
Oh, that makes so much sense.
A lot of sense, right?
Movie too.
It's just so over the top. It's every time you think it couldn't get more ridiculous. It gets so much more ridiculous. This
And
movie
you know what?
starts off being about the moon being slightly out of orbit, and in the end, it's about seeding life throughout the fucking universe. It's the dumbest premise, but it's
It goes whole
beautiful.
hog.
It's so fucking good.
You gotta give it to them. They don't skimp. They don't allude to there being aliens involved. They go all the way in. They reveal some shit that you never thought you would hear about in a stupid summer blockbuster movie about the origin of humans and how we had a whole civilization prior and shit. I feel the exact same way about this movie. It's fucking bad, and I loved every second it was on TV. Patrick Wilson, a joy.
Just
the guy who
wonderful.
plays the main
Sam
nerd.
Charlie, yeah.
It was like wish fulfillment for us. We're fat and schlubby and like aliens and shit.
Yeah.
And he got to go to space. They won't let me go because I had childhood asthma. He got to go. I got to live vicariously through him.
Dude, the part where they get immersed in a tidal wave as they're in a rocket ship that's missing one of its engines, and they just
Gravity wave.
go up through the fucking thing and still make it into space. Holy shit,
because
dude.
the moon's closer and the gravity's not as strong. That checks out.
Right. The part where they jump across the chasm at the end because the moon is going overhead. Oh, God. Oh, it was so dumb. I loved it. I can't wait to watch it again. It was so fucking stupid.
It is that kind of stupid movie that I like. I could just put it on and build Legos, and it's just background music.
It's like a movie has not been able to strike the halfway perfect point between nonsense drivel, but like peak entertainment since Armageddon. Like this is like the modern day Armageddon. Just how that movie's so dumb. It's the stupidest premise, but you just enjoy it anyway. It's like totally illogical. That like that was that movie when I was a kid. Moonfall is that movie now as an adult. I would recommend this movie to anyone. Like go in as drunk or as high as you can. It's so much fun. And that's the point. Like a lot of times we talk about stuff on here just to get real for a second. And I go, well, what was the underlying theme? What was the underlying message? I'm only saying that when a movie presents itself to have one. This movie did not present itself to have any underlying message, and that's why it was fun. It was just
the theme of this movie is kick back and grab a beer.
Yeah. That's pretty much, let's get fucked up. That's the theme of this movie.
I might have to try and find like a picture of them in the rocket ship getting ready to launch and like copy and paste our faces in there.
Oh,
that might just be the thumbnail for the episode.
Oh my God. I can't even like if you were to ask me what's the most ridiculous part of this movie, impossible.
I don't know.
Fucking impossible.
There's
oh my
so
God.
Many. There's so many ridiculous. And again, Patrick Wilson, he's a gem. I actually really do like him.
Yeah.
Even when he's in real bad movies, like the fucking not The Exorcist, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I can't think of it, but yeah,
those ones.
The
He's in a Conjuring movies. I like him. He's likable. He's just a likable fucking dude. He seems like a nice guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't have anything else to say about this movie. It was
me
stupid.
neither. But if you're listening to this, you have to see this movie. Like out of everything else that we've covered, you have to see Moonfall. Oh my God.
The Cynical Nerd 100% endorses this as dog shit entertainment.
Oh my God. A1 dog shit entertainment.
A1 dog shit. It even had the stupid and completely unrealistic corporate shill in it because Kaspersky popped up twice. Kaspersky's an antivirus company.
Mm-hmm.
It popped up once on a huge billboard. I'm in IT, so it drew my eye. And the second time it shows up is on the spaceship.
Yeah.
On one of the monitors, it's like Kaspersky. They wouldn't fucking use It's like Live Free or Die Hard. Again, being somebody who works in the IT field, the beginning of Live Free or Die Hard is another stupid bullshit movie that I will just enjoy watching.
Wonderful. Yeah.
It's but it's fun. I know it's stupid. I know it's over the top. I know it's completely bullshit, but it aspires to be nothing more than entertainment. And I gotta respect it.
Yeah.
At the beginning of that movie, they're in like the cybersecurity head of the United States government, and there's Norton security ads everywhere. And I fucking love it so much. Good. You guys, what'd you do? You saved $100,000 on the production budget by letting them buy fucking logo. And fuck it, who cares? If it helps them make a Moonfall 2, I'm on board. Let's do it.
Yeah. Dude, I'm ready for Toonfall for 100%. I need that in my life.
Poonfall?
Poonfall.
We're such children that just saying poon in a sentence is hilarious. All right, I think that wraps her up. I think
That's it. We're in an hour 35, baby. This is our shortest one in a while. We got a lot
I'm
done.
running high and tight. Tight. I had an episode title earlier, and I don't remember what it was.
Me neither.
Shit.
Because I don't think you said it out loud.
Well, I know what the thumbnail is. It's us in the moon ship.
Nice. Tight.
Where can everybody find you on the internet?
You can find me on Twitch and Twitter, and I actually am back on Twitch. I've been streaming pretty regularly.
Fuck yeah, you have.
Dark Souls Remastered. I'm almost done. I can't wait to be done because then I get to start Neo 2, which was on sale, so I nabbed. And I'm just unbelievably excited for that game because it's
we're doing the duo.
We're doing it. We're simultaneously releasing. You do not have to wait for me.
Not the first time we're simultaneously releasing.
You don't have to wait for me, by the way. I should be done Dark Souls in a couple days, but anyway, Twitch and Twitter, good. Dr. Gloom MD. That's DRGLOOMMD.
No, I'm gonna wait for you to play because I just have this giant Lego to keep building, which it keeps growing and growing. Like, I feel like they're just gonna add on a whole other ship at this point, and I'm gonna be building 2 Millennium Falcons.
Right.
Build's going great. I haven't streamed since the end of last week because I was sorting out a second camera angle, which I'm using my phone for, and it worked perfectly. So I'll be live again probably tomorrow night, if all goes well, doing that. Twitch and Twitter, at TCN Plays. That is at TCNPLAYS. Yeah, that's it. I don't have anything else for you. I remember what the title was. We were going to something about fuck Chris Pratt or fuck the church he's from.
Right.
You know, we could be the true 5-year-olds that we are because it's called Hillsong Church and just call the episode Hill Dong Church. We'll figure it out offline. We're going to wrap it up. This has been episode 65 of The Cynical Nerd, and we will see you next time.
Bye.